Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Power Prospecting, How to Close Like a Pro, with your MAPS coaches, Jackie Kravitz and Bill Crespo. Please note this webinar is being recorded and you'll automatically receive the webinar recording. If you have any questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. All right, that's all from me. Go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Go ahead, Jack.
No, hey, thank you everyone for joining Bill and I today. We are so excited. We got some great stuff to share with you. And Bill, you can do your little intro. We can get started.
Yeah, I just want to make sure for everybody that's on, if you can hear me and see the screen, if you can just type in yes in the question area and making sure that the audio sounds good. We want to get that going. Thanks, Lori. Thanks, Heather, Liz, Kevin. Wow, Charlene, Ruby, we're on. Okay, good. Excellent.
Yeah,
If something happens dramatic here, type it in. That's how we're going to look at this real closely to make sure everything's good. So we're going to start going, and Jackie's going to bring us into what we're doing today. A couple things that I want to just tell everybody, that if you don't know us, some of you may know us. Jackie's been around for a long time. We've both been coaching for almost 20 years. We've been the prospecting crazies. We've done all the stuff. We've made all the mistakes, and we're here to help you with that today. We're here to help you get better at closing, knowing how to prospect over the phone. I want to remind you just a couple tips. If you are not on this, get on it now. The Prospecting Locker Room is a way. It's a closed group for us to be able to communicate to you, for you to ask your questions. We're on it, so get on it. Type it in right now if you want. The Prospecting Locker Room, we'll get you in. It's an invite only, so once you type in, we'll get you going. Also, on YouTube right now, I'm on there right now. We're trying to change it, but we're going to get everybody from this YouTube into a new one. But get in, check our stuff out on my YouTube, and then you'll start to see some changes happening. Today, it's really important to understand that we're going to cover some of the items we did on the last previous. Thanks for all those people that are signing up. I'm seeing them coming on. I do not see the screen. Okay, so does everybody see the screen right now that says YouTube? I just want to make sure you guys can see my screen. You guys can see my screen? Just say yes. Dalton says yes. Okay, good. Someone just said they didn't see the screen. All right, so last couple of webinars, we talked about the six-figure blueprint. And we covered the concept of the six-figure blueprint. Today, we're going to cover one side of it, which is going to be the side of converting, taking that lead that you have and converting it for an appointment or a sign or whatever we've got to do to move them to that next step. Very important that you understand what that's all about, because that's really the strong point of someone prospecting. So today it's called the close, how to be effectively closing and not really pushing, all right? Not being this pushy type of salesperson that turns someone off. So we're going to give you some tips on how to do that. And remember that in this whole process of closing, you have to have a strategy. It cannot be that you're playing chess. And chess, you know how a game is on chess. You know, chess is just, you jump here, you jump there, and there's no real strategy really when you play chess. As a kid, that's probably the first thing you learn how to play. And so when you moved up the ranks of understanding what goes on with strategy, you started playing checkers, right? Chess. Chess is the strategy that you have to have when you're closing someone. Checkers is just you have no strategy. And a lot of times as we're coaching people, groups and individuals, we find out that there needs to be a better strategy. So we're going to talk about how to clients close themselves, how you can get a client to actually close themselves, all right? So you've got to think about a couple things, and Jackie's going to share a couple things with us. But one thing that you've got to understand is you have to understand that what has to change in your techniques, right? What has to change? Let me see. Someone just said something here, Jack. Let me just read it. What are the names of private group and how do I get in? Okay, we're going to give you all that information later, but the private group is the Prospecting Locker Room, all right? So today we're going to talk about what has to change in your delivery. How do you have to change to be more effective in closing? We're going to talk about the 3 to 4 different steps that you need to have in objection handling. There's a 3-step and a 4-step, okay? So I'm going to hand it over to Jackie. Jackie, let's go with this one. And you can start.
Yeah, it's very important, like Bill said, that you have a strategy, and there's a 3-step handling objection process over the phone so you could set the appointment, and a 4-step for in person. We'll give you more details in a moment. And the bottom line is that every time you hear an objection, you handle that objection and you close. You ask for the appointment or you ask for the signature. The point is we have to always be closing without being pushy. This is not about being pushy at all. So then the question is, do you have a standard close? Meaning, do you have this process? We're going to teach you that today. So you know where you're going. You have a path and you know exactly where you're headed. And the best part about this is that over the phone, wait until we get where we're going with this. Over the phone, you're not going to actually have to handle the objection. So this is really exciting stuff, Bill.
So when you look at closing, and here's what happens with the difficulty, I think, with some of the people that are closing. The question is, why don't you close more? You know, we talk about everybody's so afraid of closing. Oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm too pushy. Oh, they may see me as whatever you think. Remember, this is all in your head. So, and a lot of times it's having to be liked so much instead of being a trusted advisor. Just think about this. If your doctor, you walk into the doctor's office, and the first thing he's really concerned about is you liking him, how long are you going to stay in that office? Come on. You'll probably be running out the front door. Hey, I just want to hug you. I just want you to like me. No, that's not what you expect from a professional. So you've got to understand that, first off, don't worry about being liked. Now, you don't want to be mean and have a really a bad disposition here, but you've got to come across as an expert. Another reason why we don't close is that we're not knowing the right time to close. We just don't know, do I do it now? Do I do it later? Maybe you do it too soon. Does that sound familiar to anybody out there so far? I want to get a little bit of feedback from you. Does that sound familiar to anybody out there right now about your difficulty in closing? Heather says yes. Yeah. Susan says yes. Okay, now watch this, guys. I think a lot of us also have this, a major fear.
Yeah, right.
Right, Jackie?
Yeah, Bill. Here's what I want to make a statement about this, right? Why don't we close more and everything that you were just talking about? I believe and I know that motivated sellers and motivated buyers as well, they are looking for an aggressive agent. They're not looking for someone who is passive, who wants to make friends with them. When a homeowner wants to sell their property, they have to move. They really want to move. High motivation. They are looking for someone who can show them by asking for the appointment and the signature that they can get the job done. So just remember that when you have any hang-ups about fear of rejection, the homeowner is looking for an agent who can show them they can get the job done. And same with a motivated buyer. So let go of this fear of rejection, because fear only lives in your head. It's just like you said, right, Bill? It's just a story in their head.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Yvette, thanks for being honest. She goes, oh my gosh, that's my problem. You know, excuse me, fear of rejection. Guys, if we could take away that fear. You know, I read a book, Jackie, about this anxiety that we have about closing, this anxiety about prospecting, all this stuff, and almost physically what you got to do. I've got a jar in my office. You take that fear, put it in a jar, and say, listen, I'll get back to you just a little bit, fear, but I'm going to put you right here, right now, because I got a prospect. You almost have to literally do that with yourself so that you can overcome this. And what I want to share with you today is a concept right now. Just imagine this. Just imagine this for a second, that your prospect over the phone or in person is a pendulum. And this pendulum has to move. If you look at this like a clock, right? It's a clock pendulum. It has to move to work. The clock does not work unless the pendulum moves. When you don't close or when you don't know where you stand with a prospect, it's in neutral. It's in neutral. It does not move. So watch this, guys. I want you to really watch this closely and think about this when you're dealing with your people, all right? So if the client is a pendulum, and I'm sorry for this, I hear some static, but I don't know where that's coming from. But if your prospect is a pendulum and your job is to move it, whether they say no to you or they have an objection while you asking to close, you're moving that. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. So let's just say you try to close them one time, and all of a sudden they say no. That's okay. Why? Because this pendulum just swung that way. So I don't want you to be fearful of the no anymore, because that makes this move. But when you don't close, they're stuck in neutral. When you don't know where you stand, when you leave an appointment or on the phone, you don't know if they like you, you don't know if they're going to move with you or even interview with you, you're in neutral. Because once this thing swings to no, which is, let's say, 9 o'clock, it can easily now swing to yes, because this movement is this conversation, this way of closing them, these other questions that you're asking, because no is just really an unanswered question, and then they could swing to yes. Now, could they swing to no? Yes, but we're moving this thing around. Better off than having this thing stuck in neutral. Your job is to move it. Get a no, get a yes, get a no, get a yes. Keep moving to the final close. But we know this statistically, that 92% of your clients that you are your prospects that you're closing, 92% of your competition is gone if you continue to close past the 4th and 5th no. Listen closely. Most of you only have one way of closing or two ways. But if you want 92% of your competition gone, you have to have 4 to 5 different ways to close. Remember that movie? What was that movie that we're talking about, Jackie? What was this? Guys know
Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Got Tom Cruise going, "Show me the money." You know, the guy says,
Yeah.
"I want you." So he's closing now. I don't think we got to be yelling and screaming like nutcases. But let me tell you something. I guarantee you that no one else in that office was yelling and screaming, going, "Show me the money." You know, you've got to take it to that next step. It may be uncomfortable, like Yvette was saying. Oh, I got a fear, because let's get over the fear. Let's get over the fear. So, Jackie, give them a couple of ideas on how to close. We'll get into the big stuff here, but let's go over a couple of ways.
Yeah, Bill, I just want to add something to what you were saying. 92% of the time, you're going to get a yes if you ask 5 times. Do you remember when we used to play the 7 pennies game? Just put 7 pennies as a visual. Every time you ask for the appointment, you move the penny out to the right of your desk, let's say. So every penny represents a close. And the goal is not to hang up on any call without moving at least 5 pennies to the side. And every call you start again. You become really great at this really quickly when you make it a game like that. Plus, I like playing games. It's fun.
Yeah. Imagine if that was it. Just imagine. All you got to do is keep talking and closing effectively. And Jackie made a point, in a non-pushy way, in a consultative way.
Exactly.
That makes people feel like you're an expert. Tell them about these 2 concepts, and I'll work with them on the other ones.
Yeah, so here's some options, different closes that we want to present to you. The trial close, and it says right on the screen, use it after a presentation or after you made a strong selling point. So this is about just giving them options. A very easy one over the phone, which is giving them options of time. That's the alternate close, right, Bill? So give them an example of the trial close. I know you gave me some examples yesterday, Bill.
Like, hey, when I come over, will you have your keys and an extra key mate and your mortgage information ready for me when I come by? Okay, that's a trial close. You know, would you like the lockbox in the front of the house or the back of the box in the house when I come by to see you? Those are trial. You're testing the waters. A trial close is testing the waters out there. The assumptive close is different.
To see how they respond. Yeah, the assumptive close, I actually love this because the assumptive close is just, let's say, when you walk into a listing appointment, it's shake their hand and said, I'm excited to get your property on the market and get it sold for you. Let's go, show me the property. That's an assumptive close. Over the phone, you may say to them, I'm looking forward to meeting with you today at 5 o'clock, and I am confident that when we meet, you'll see why we should be working together. So you're assuming you're going to be working together. And these are, it's interesting how we always get what we expect, Bill, and we have to always assume that we're going to get a yes. Because if you're assuming you're going to get a no, whether it's asking for the appointment or asking for the signature, you're going to sound hesitant. And when we hesitate, they hesitate. So assumptive closes are critical because our energy shows up in that. You want to share the other two with them, Bill?
Yeah, the alternative close and economic close. I want to go over that with you. The alternative close is that you're giving them options. So, in other words, would you like to put your house on the market this month, or at the end of the month better for you? Are you looking to buy in June, or there's always an alternative close? You're moving the client to that whatever next step, giving them two choices, a limited set of choices. You know what's really good for those of you that are expressive, and for those of you that are talking to expressives, an alternate choice is really good because if you ask them an open-ended question or an open-ended close, forget it, you'll be there 2 days. But an alternate close gives them a choice. You're keeping them in the box. The animals don't jump out of the box. The other economic close is being used a lot right now when you have, let's say, a scaled pricing for your commission. Hey, is it a 6, 7, or 8% better for you, Mr. Seller? And what's the difference? And that's a economic close. Or anytime that you're offering something that has to do with money and enticing them. I just heard someone just talk about recently on an advertisement how they are actually saying to the client that we're going to buy your house for 60 cents on the dollar, because if you're looking for a fast close, we can do that with our investors. That's an economic close. The other thing that's really, really, really important, as you're speaking to someone, the close has to be like a dance. And Jackie, you know that when you're dancing, with someone, you know how it is. You ever dance with anybody that just didn't know how to dance? You know how that goes, right?
Unfortunately, I have, yes.
Yes. Stepping on your toes. It's a jerky movement. That's what a lot of us are doing when we're trying to finesse our way on a close. It doesn't feel natural. When you have someone feeling really good about your presentation, the close becomes like a dance. It's almost like the perfect ending to a dance. You kind of dip her and she goes down. They like it. It's like a tango. So let's talk about the perfect environment for a close, because you have to set the stage. A client must feel that they're in control. Soon as you close too hard, and what's happening in some of these scripts that are out there, and just the demeanor of a driver, you guys want to close, but what you're doing, the client gets into this, or the prospect gets into this fight or flight type of mode, and they don't feel that they're in control. Always make them feel that they can make that decision. But when you have a strategy, you're really in control. The next thing that I see is that you are asking more questions and telling. When you're setting the stage for a good situation, you are asking more questions. You should be speaking 30% of the time. The consumer should be speaking, or the prospect, 70% of the time. So when you set the stage correctly, this goes on, and it becomes a natural progression to the close, okay? Next is that you've got to, here's what happens for some of you, and I hear this a lot, unfortunately. As soon as you see that they're really leaning towards you, and you go, oh my gosh, they're going to pick me. You get this thing, you get all excited, and you just want to close, and you end up having what I call commission breath. When they detect you getting too excited about the close and you want to earn that commission, it's almost like the vampire sucking the blood out of the neck of the person. You get all excited. The professional closer lays back a little bit. You don't want to have commission breath. I just want, that doesn't work. They see you anxious about the commission and the excitement of closing. Think about this for a second. You have an operation. If you have a doctor who's awfully excited about operating on you, wouldn't that scare you just a little bit? I just can't wait to open you up. You don't want that to happen. The other thing too is that you want to be seen as an expert. You want to be seen as a professional. And when they see you having expertise, influence, and authority, it's amazing, Jackie, how the objections are reduced, right? You get less objection.
Absolutely. That's where it's at. And Bill, I love this slide actually, because I want you to start looking at these objections rather than you hit a wall, rather than hearing the objection and believing that the objection is going to stop you from setting the appointment or getting the signature. It's just a smoke screen. The fact that they haven't hung up on you, they haven't asked you to leave the house yet, it means that they're open. They're just looking for you to get rid of the smoke and be able to actually convince them that you can get the job done. And there's a huge difference, Bill, between a condition and an objection. An objection is just that smoke screen. You got to get past that. A condition is, as the example here of the picture you're looking at, if someone says, yeah, I'm 7 months pregnant and we're not going to list the property until after the baby is born, there is nothing you can say that is going to change that. That is a condition you can do nothing about. So understanding the difference between a condition and an objection is critical. Now, an objection, for example, is when you hear a firstborn expired say, oh, yeah, I have a friend in real estate. Everyone has a friend in real estate or several friends in real estate. In most areas, right, there's I heard a joke once, Bill. I'm sure you heard it before, too. Here in South Florida, I live in Miami. It's the largest board of realtors in the United States, right? There are 50,000 realtors in Miami. So when a police officer stops you down here, they don't ask for your driver's license. They ask for your real estate license because everybody here has one. So understanding that when they say, I have a friend in real estate, that's not an objection. That's a condition. So what do we do with that? How do we handle these objections and we get past this smoke screen?
Yeah, I think
actually close for the appointment.
It's funny. The consumer at times has better techniques than we do because we buy into everything they tell us, and that directs our response. We need to be in control of that, and this is why we suggest that you've got to understand the behavior science behind this thing. When they see you with authority and influence, they start to back down because they know you have the answers. But there's a couple of objections that we're hearing on a regular basis that you should know how to overcome. One is, hey, I would like to wait until June. I want to wait until later. Anytime when there's a distance of time, you've got to overcome that objection. I want to wait until whenever. And here's what's interesting. With texting, we've done a really good job of feeling like the texting is actually that you're engaged with the person. But remember, naturally, most people are procrastinators, especially the millennials. I got a bunch of them at home. They'll text all day long, but they won't make a decision to do something. So your job in your response is to move them forward. Here's another one.
Yeah.
We'll do it ourselves, Jackie. We will just do it ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
That's a typical one. And so by us believing that, without any response, you're in a bad situation in trying to get this person to respond to you in a positive way. So we will do it ourselves is just really a no. And remember that if you respond by not responding, just say okay and you walk away, they're in neutral. Your job is to try to close them in a response that starts to get that pendulum moving. Here's another one. We're not ready because we need to finish painting. We need to do the deck. This is a one that happens a lot with you all, and I see it a lot in my office and some of the clients where they're actually letting the client take another 30 days to finish some of this work. You've got to move the client because by the time you speak to them and by the time they do the work, you've got to understand there's probably 3, 5, 6, 10 real estate people that are going to approach them. One other thing I want to add to that, which I think we're finding out, that we know that face-to-face is very important to convert these leads. So if you have a lead on you that you have not seen that says, call me back in 30 days or when we finish this, you're going to have to drive out of that house if they're in your marketplace. So don't hesitate by knocking on that door and introducing yourself. You don't want to camp out. You do want to say, hi, I'm on my way to an appointment. Here's the one that Jackie just talked about. I already have an agent. They haven't met you.
Yep.
If you believe that, you're in trouble because you have no technique. Yep. As Yvette said, oh my gosh, I'm fearing to make that response back. You have to. Jackie now is going to go over we're going to give you 2 ways of actually overcoming objections, 2 scenarios, and Jackie's going to go over what happens over the phone because there's over the phone and then there's in person. So Jackie, tell us about how to do this over the phone.
Yeah, so over the phone, Bill, as you said in the beginning of the webinar, there's a 3-step process to handle objections over the phone. And then in person, Bill, you're going to cover that with them. There are 4 steps in person. So here's what we do over the phone. Step 1 on the phone. I want you to write this down. This is so important. You see it on the very bottom of the screen. Listen intently and repeat and approve whatever they said, whatever the objection is. So step 1, you've got to remember, this makes it so easy to handle objections over the phone because you don't actually have to handle anything. The first thing you got to do is listen, repeat, and approve. So here are some examples. You may say to them, I completely understand why you want to sell it yourself because from your perspective, you're looking at it thinking, I can do what real estate agents do. That's step 1. So I haven't handled anything. I haven't said anything. I am just repeating what they said and acknowledging that I completely understand. And there's some other examples here. This process is critical. This is the first step because until they feel like you've heard them and you understand where they're coming from, they're not going to listen to you. Everyone wants to feel like they don't want to hear what you have to say until they know that you've heard them first. Yeah, I absolutely see why you would want to consider your friend, obviously, because obviously they're a good friend, and if you're going to use somebody, why not? I understand that. Or I clearly see why. These are all great examples of how you repeat and approve. And to do this effectively, we were talking about this yesterday, Bill. A lot of the scripts that the agents on this webinar are using, they have, after each question, there's an approval word. For example, great, fantastic, excellent. That's a reminder for you to approve. The challenge is if you just, after every objection, you just say great, and you ask another question, fantastic, excellent, and you keep asking questions, pretty soon they're going to feel like they're being interrogated. And no one wants to talk to someone when they feel interrogated. So do not skip step 1. And it's easy to do if you listen intently first. And then, Bill, let's go to step 2 on the phone. Step 2 now, you're going to ask a question that causes them to, one way I say it is a question to get their attention, a question that makes them curious about something, or causes them to have some doubt about what it is they're doing or how the objection that they gave you, right? Or whether the objection is, I'm going to sell it myself, or I have a friend in real estate. What question can we ask that's going to create some doubt and make them curious about what we can do for them? So one of my favorite structures of these questions over the phone is the if blank, would you blank? And the 4 points or the 4 examples that you see there: significant advantage, financial benefit, net more money, absolutely confident. That's the first blank right after the if. So if examples, if there was a significant advantage for you to work with someone other than your friend, would you consider it? If so, what creates doubt and curiosity is the significant advantage. They may say, well, what do you mean? What's the advantage? Hang on, okay, we'll get to the step 3. If they say, I'm going to sell it myself, after you say, I completely understand why you would consider selling it yourself, because blah, blah, blah. If there was a financial benefit for you to work with me instead of selling on your own, would you do it? Okay, so those are, you could see how you use the examples here after the if, and you create doubt and curiosity. And before we go to step 3, I want to say this. Bill, you and I learned this many, 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 many years ago in the beginning of our real estate careers.
Mhm.
The person asking the question controls the conversation. An objection, remember this, an objection is a question that they have. And when they give you an objection, since it is a question, they're in control. And then you listen, you repeat and approve, and you ask a question right here in step 2. And by asking this question that creates curiosity and doubt, you regain control of the conversation. It's a beautiful process. And then we go to step 3. Look how easy this is on the phone. Ask for the appointment. This is the close. And this is one of the alternate closes that Bill talked about earlier. So I'm going to be in your area today around 3 o'clock, or would 4 be better for you? You're giving them alternate times. Or I can come by today at 3 o'clock, would 4 be better? So let me take you one step back so you're really clear on how this is working. So over the phone, the step 2 was you asked that question to bring doubt and curiosity. So if you say, if there was a significant advantage for you to work with someone other than your friend, would you consider? And now they say, well, what do you mean? What's the advantage? Watch. That's exactly why I'd like to meet with you for 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to be in your area today at 3 o'clock, or would 4 be better for you? See how you transition right into the close. You're not going to tell him what the significant advantage is over the phone. You're not going to tell him what the financial benefit is over the phone. That's a stepping stone to get you the appointment. So it's really easy. Guess what? You don't have to handle objections over the phone. You just use this process. Don't you love this, Bill?
Yeah, I think it's great. And we're going to start to talk about it in person, but anybody, first of all, I want to get the reaction from you. Do you think this could work if you used it? Yes or no? Can this work if you used it? For those of you like Yvette said she's a little fearful.
Yeah.
Eric says yes. Yes. Ronaldo says yes. Okay, good. All right. Yes. All right. What do you like about that? So if you can use it, what is good about what Jackie just said? Anybody want to just type in? I know we can't get everybody's comments in here, but what is good about that whole process of doing it over the phone? What did you like about it that you're not doing right now? Anybody? It's simple, someone says. Okay, great, good. I love that.
Oh, logic. It's
logical. All right, yeah. It's repeatable. Yeah, that's the point, guys. If you start to make this you, then you're not so freaked out. You just have a method, you know. And I got to say this. I was talking to a Navy SEAL, interviewed Jason Redman the other week, and I interviewed him because he has a new book coming out. And he was saying that the reason why he did not freak out in an ambush because he had a procedure that he went through. He knew what to do. He was too busy doing the procedure. And what's happened is that Jackie just gave you a procedure, so you don't have to worry about getting ambushed. You just go through the steps. It takes your mind off of all this other stuff that you're freaked out about. So now let's go in person. In person is where the close is going to take place. This is where they now see you, right? So we're going to go back to some of the similar things that Jackie said, because if you're in person and they give you an objection, the same procedure as step one as you did over the phone. You're going to listen intently, and you're going to repeat and affirm. I completely understand why you're thinking about doing it yourself, because you want to save money. You're seeing that right now you only have so much proceeds. People want to know that you understand them. And one of this research that was just recently done several years ago by Harvard, that we're not, salespeople are not empathetic enough. We're too busy closing and we're not showing empathy. But that bridge word right there, because, moves you into more of empathy when you repeat what they have said. And it's very important to repeat what they have said. Don't make up something. When they say to you, gosh, you know what, we're going to do it ourselves because we just don't have enough money right now to do something. Oh, so, you know, I completely understand why you want to do yourself, because you just said that, you know, repeat what they have said. Or I absolutely see why you want to go back with that same age, because it's a friend of yours, because you've had a long relationship with the person, because they were listed for 6 months and now you feel obligated. I can understand that. You see, now we're on their side. As soon as you get to their side of understanding, it's much easier to close someone than to sit there and say, let me tell you why you're wrong. And basically, when that's where that pendulum gets stuck. You can't tell someone they're wrong right off the bat. Listen, it doesn't work in my house. When I tell my wife
right.
wrong at first, right, Jackie? It doesn't work when you're telling someone that they're wrong right off the bat. And sometimes we're so quick to overcome the objection without showing empathy that it hurts us. And now we go into step two. Right? Now, remember, this is in person. Can I explain why? By going back to that same agent and how that could work against you. Can I explain why by actually doing it yourself can actually cost you more money? Can I point out why by whatever they said can affect your plans by waiting, let's say, till June or later? Now you're creating doubt and curiosity in their mind. Very similar to what Jackie just said. Now, this is a process, yes, you're going to have to learn to do on a regular basis. You don't need to also learn all these crazy scripts sometimes that it's like a short story to memorize. Like, the more simpler we can keep this for you, the more effective. As we're coaching and training people in groups, and as we're coaching these ISAs around the country, all of a sudden it was like the skies open up when we teach them this, and they go, this is so much easier than what I was taught. And then when they ask you, well, tell me, when I say, can I explain why by actually going back to that same agent can work against you? First of all, I'm asking permission. Then we go into step three. This is where I have to now give a statement of fact. Now I got to give them the meat and potatoes here. You could either ask them a question to start off. So let me ask you this, Mr. Seller. Is it important for you to do your friend a favor or to get your home sold? That's an alternate, of course, question, but that's setting up the statement. He goes, well, I need to get my house sold. Now you're going to give your statement of fact, or use an analogy we talked about. You know, Mr. Seller, you know, I understand you doing it yourself. And let me just say this. If have you ever tried to cut your hair yourself? I mean, that's kind of funny. You know, you kind of lighten it up a little bit. You can use an analogy. We don't have time to go over, but we use this attorney analogy that a lot. If you had a big case that your family had hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s riding on this court case, and your attorney does all the fact checking, and now you have to present your case to the judge, and the judge, gives you the verdict, and the verdict is that you lost the case. My question to you, Mr. Seller, would you go back to that attorney, or would you be investigating how you can get someone else to represent you? Sometimes you got to take people out of real estate, give them an analogy so they can see another perspective. Or you're going to use a fact or a statement or statistic that your team may have. There's a team, I'm coaching this team out of Houston, the Loken Group. Some of you may know them. And they have a 98% list to sell ratio where the market is 93. That's 5% difference. That's huge. So, Mr. Seller, we'd like to share with you how we can get a 5% higher net proceeds to sellers working our plan. And then you're closing. That's why I recommend you sign a listing agreement so we can help you get what you want to get here and net the highest amount of money. Or based on that, what is today or 3 or tomorrow better for you? So you can use some of these alternative choice type of approaches on the close. This is why it's important for us to meet at my office or meet later. You could use both of these types of approaches, but significantly, when you're in front of someone, they need to see you and they see that you're a professional. You're giving them great eye contact. Your hands are moving, your head's shaking up and down. That becomes much more effective for you. One other thing I just want to mention, Jackie, we can talk about this in just a second. The fact that it's very important, and if you ever read the book, the Influence, Science, and Practice, it's a research book based on persuasion. I'm going to repeat the word again. Influence, Science, and Practice is written by Robert Cialdini, a good Southern name, no Italian name. And what I want you to do is understand that there is a way of presenting yourself that gives you high influence and high authority right off the bat and reduces your amount of objections that you get. If you don't understand that, and this is some of the things that Jackie and I are going to be teaching in our program that's coming up here. I just want you to understand that there's so much involved in getting you better at closing. That is it. You can spend money on all this other stuff that's very expensive. But if you don't know how to open your mouth and convince someone that you're the best, you're wasting a lot of time and energy. And so we've decided through all the programs that we've been working with and all the different things that we've been working on, that we've designed this program for you so that you can see what we're teaching some of the top teams in the marketplace. The Power Prospecting Group program is a combination of what I and Jackie have been teaching to different people all over the country. Some of these people have been on Zoom calls with us in prospecting. This is the Loken team. They've been on us. And here's what they've been saying, Jackie, and I'll let you give them the details of the program, is that what we've been teaching, coaching has really helped the agents develop better prospecting skills. It actually helped them shift the mindset so that they're more confident. We need to give you the confidence to close and to give you the right mindset and give you the strength and the weapon of the words and the weapon of the strategy to make it happen.
Yeah, Bill, if I could say just something real quick about this mindset and confidence, what you have on the screen right now, this is so critical because we can give these agents the words to use, the scripts to say, and your mindset and the confidence with which you say them is going to make the difference between whether you get a yes or a no, because it makes such a huge difference how you say what you say. So this mindset and confidence is more important than the words, to be honest. So this is huge.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And so what we have put together for you is what we call the ACE prospecting strategy. And that talks about the A stands for the approach, the C stands for the conversation, and the E stands for the end results. This ACE prospecting strategy, from what we've gathered through all the programs we've been teaching and all the years of experience, we have combined 50 years of experience, which is kind of embarrassing, but we've got it. And we're going to take all that information and give it to you in our program. The other thing that we have stepped up to the next plate for you is to show you how to make an additional $100,000 just like that with your business by using not only the technique of the ACE strategy, but also the six-figure blueprint that combines all this. And if you were on some of our last couple of webinars, we discussed some of these processes in you. In what we're teaching in our new workshop that's coming up here, or the group program that's coming up, we're also going to provide you some worksheets that's going to help you support what you're doing so that you stay on track. And what happens is, we're like, I don't know what it is, but okay, guys, I know that you get distracted. And some of this, because we've been there, is what we call creative avoidance. We don't want to face some of the things that we have to do. You know, like I got to go to the bathroom when it's prospect. I got all this paperwork. We've got to keep you focused on the activities that's going to cause you to be able to have an incredible increase in your business, and we design worksheets to do that. And so the question, Jackie, is this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What would you do with more freedom? Because that six-figure blueprint, all of those items in there, in the center of that, Bill, if you could go back to that slide real quick, in the center of it all is freedom for you. Personal freedom in your business and freedom in your personal life. Because when you have the money, when you have the opportunities, you make more money, and eventually you build security. And it's through mastering all these different aspects, which we cover in this program. So the question is, what would you do with more freedom? And the answer is different for every person. You have to determine what that means for you. And Bill and I are so excited because Power Prospecting, this group program, starts 2 weeks from today. So 2 weeks from today, right at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is in just a few minutes, we're going to have 1-hour webinars that's going to cover every aspect of the ACE Prospector, the six-figure blueprint, and the 9 accelerators. We're just going to give you so much great information that we know is going to help you make more money. Bill and I know we had a webinar a couple of weeks ago on the six-figure blueprint, and this entire Power Prospecting program that Bill and I are doing, we are committed that you stick with us for 6 months and you start applying what you learn here. And Bill, we believe that you could create an additional $100,000 in income in 6 months by using the stuff that we're going to share with you here.
Yeah, and it's
Bill?
amazing. It's amazing. We have decided to make this more available to people. And if you have gone on the site, you might see it say $299, but we decided to open up. We had a discussion with MAPS today, the other day, and we said, okay, let's just bring the flood in, get on this, because this is going to be the most effective class to getting you back on track with what you need to be doing to get your business and get that $100,000 as quickly as possible in your pocket, especially right now. So it's $199 a month, guys. And if you decide you want to just pay it all off, you get 1 month free. It's $9.95. So I know this is a sales pitch, but let me just tell you, we've been in this business long enough to know exactly what's necessary for you to be successful. And stop getting distracted for the flavor of the month and all these things that are going on that you're purchasing. This investment is going to get you to where you want to go financially. Now, here's how you do this.
Yeah, actually, Bill, let me just say, because I know you mentioned the price on the website. It has been adjusted. We start, if some of you register, because we already had several registrations at $299, you're going to get refunded the difference. We've decided to make the price more accessible for all of you. And if you go on MAPS Coaching right now, you click on Fast Track, you're going to see the $199, or you could pay it in full and save $199. So it's all there.
Yeah. Someone said, I think it was, who just said that? Something about the microphone, guys. Whatever it is, it's, hopefully you guys can see this and you are okay with it. Here's what I'd like to ask you guys also. When you look at, if you can take a picture of this, if you guys want to remember this, just take your camera, take a shot of this. You can know how to put this URL onto the browser. You could also go to the MAPS site and go to mapscoaching.com, go to coaching programs, go to group. That will get you there. If you have any questions, you can go to info at pathtopro.net. And what's so interesting is there's the group that's on right now typically are the people that are going to sign up right now. The people that stay for the very end. Because sometimes we get into this realtor mode and, oh my God, they're going to sell me on something. We will deliver. And I want to know from you guys, first of all, what was helpful for you today? What was helpful
Type
for
it
you
in
today?
for us.
Go ahead, type it in because we want to know what was helpful for you today. What is something that you got out of today that would help you right now in getting your business up and running? Go ahead and type it in for me. I'm looking for answers. Don't be shy. Okay, let's see here. Okay, good.
The system of asking questions. Maureen likes the freedom. Woo! Yeah, Maureen, I'm with you there. I'm totally there.
For whatever reason, I
Clear
can't.
process to advance the conversation. Liz said, clear process to advance the conversation. Great. Susan said, give me specific things to do. Yeah, you have the system now. You have the process. So it makes it a lot easier. Can you see these, Bill?
Yeah, I see them now. I see, helping the seller discover for themselves. Listen, the best close, guys, is the one you never have to give. If they see you presenting at a high level, their close becomes much more easier to deliver, and you feel much more comfortable. They feel comfortable. Yeah, don't talk yourself out of having a plan. Guys,
I love that one, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So here's what we'd like for you to do. We want you to seriously take this into consideration. We are excited. We know we're going to deliver content that's probably going to be something that it's not even probably. I know you haven't seen before. We're not regurgitating something here. This is advanced techniques to help you get there. So it's simple for you to apply to your business. So if you have any questions about it, you're still apprehensive or something's come up, Bill, hey, info@pathtopro.net. Don't forget, they're all going to be recorded. So if you can't make it a certain day, you can now study it and at a later date. It starts on April 23rd at 1 p.m. We're excited about it. We want to see you there.
Bill,
register now.
Yeah, someone asked to please review the day and time of the class. Can you put that slide back? It's right here. Starts April 23rd, which is 2 weeks from today, 1 p.m. Eastern time for 1 hour. Okay. So we actually, Bill and I have spent a lot of time over the last several months putting together and the content for each and every one of these webinars. There will be a total of 24 webinars over the 6-month period. So again, we're not going to repeat information. It's going to be an hour packed with great stuff that you can take out there into your calls and appointments and make money right away. So seriously, I haven't been this excited for new things. Is always exciting, right? I haven't been this excited in a long time, Bill. So we're ready.
It's going to be weekly, 1 hour. Don't forget, it's every week with us for 1 hour. So you're going to get it all, and you're going to be able to jump in. So jumping in right now, I tell you, would be the ideal situation. So listen, let's start the party. Let's get things changed in your life and your business. Let's make that $100,000 as quickly as possible. We want to make this. Listen, you want to have a big Christmas? Starts right now.
Yeah.
Okay? That's right. That's not about our business, but Christmas time is right now. So we want to get you guys rocking and rolling into success. Here it is again, one more time. Let's start the party. If you have any questions, email us. We're excited. Have a great day. Close hard. Prospect regularly. Come with us to the journey of making you a powerful prospector.
Reynaldo asked, how often are the calls? 1 webinar per week. It's 1 a week, and there are a total of 24 over a period of 6 months. And this webinar was recorded. I'll send an email. Jasmine always does that. She'll send a recording to the webinar, today's webinar, to every single one of you, and included in that will also be a link for you to register. Thank you so much, everyone. Bill, we'll talk soon. See you all in 2 weeks.
Questions? Additional questions. Let's go ahead and just get us, and we'll answer your questions that you have. So we're good to go.
So I guess
guys, there's a couple other questions.
Yeah. Suzanne is asking, she's already signed up, the refund, the difference? No, it's going to happen automatically, Suzanne. Don't worry about it. It might take a couple of days for them to handle all of them. You'll get your automatic refund for the difference on the change of price. Thanks again, everyone. Do we have anything else, Bill?
I think that's it. I'm excited again, and let's get this thing
All
going,
right.
guys. Don't hesitate, jump on in. We're looking forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.